The name of the deck is absolutely perfect for this deck. It is a Rakdos deck that seems to be, just looking at it very fast, a very powerful and annoying deck straight off the bat. The fact that this is called Endless Punishment means it could possibly be the best Rakdos deck when it comes to straight out buying. Now, I know YouTubers say that all the time, this is the best deck ever, I'm not saying it's the best deck ever, I'm saying this could possibly be the best Rakdos deck that is straight out the bat, and I'm not doing that YouTuber thing, I legit think that. So let's go into the video. I'll talk about the commander, the sub-commander, the context of the deck, and then give my thoughts and opinions over it all to see if it's worth buying or not. But before I go any further, a quick word from our sponsor, which again is me. I have a small Etsy page where I make t-shirts and hoodies that are funny, really soft, and full of multiple different colors. The main reason I'm asking people to buy this type of merch is that it helps me and my channel out. I'm able to get better lighting and cameras and better equipment to be able to make better videos for you to enjoy. So when it comes to this, you don't have to worry about me spending all the money on random stuff that people don't care about. It will be made purposely to make these videos better, and that only. But now on to the context of the deck, starting off with the commander, and the commander of this deck is
Valgavith, Harrower of Souls, 2 generic mana-own black mana-own red mana legendary creature, Elder Demon flying ward, pay 2 life. Whenever an opponent loses life for the first time during each of their turns, put a +1/+1 counter on Valgavith, Harrower of Souls, and draw a card. 4/4.
4 mana for a 4/4 is just nice. However, it has ward, pay 2 life, which is absolutely amazing and absolutely hilarious, because ward seems to be the new hexproof or shroud that people don't enjoy, but people that have ward do enjoy. This commander is really hard to get rid of, mainly because of the pay 2 life, but, and correct me if I'm wrong here, if you pay the 2 life, before it activates, it may trigger itself, and the activated ability of this card is absolutely crazy. So, pretty much what I'm seeing from this, and correct me if I'm wrong, if someone places murder on your commander, you're still able to get to draw a card. It may get the 1/1 counter, but it doesn't matter, it's dead. However, you get a draw a card, but only if it's the first thing that has happened on their turn. This commander is really good for multiple reasons. One, it's hard to block because it's got flying. 4 damage is quite good, but it powers itself up enough to be able to one-shot people with commander damage. So if you put a bunch of 1/1 counters on this, this can go absolutely destructive, especially since Rakdos is in it, and I have a weird thing that if there's a red pip in it, if I get something really big, I automatically want to fling it. So with this, you could literally go, cool, I've powered it up enough, I'm going to do 21 damage knocking you out, and the person that has the lowest health, that's at, we'll just say randomly 18, I'm going to fling my commander at you. Both people are gone. So I'm already a big fan of this deck just based on the commander, but when it comes to this, there's not a commander without a sub-commander, and the sub-commander of this deck is
the Lord of Pain, 3 generic mana-own black mana-own red mana legendary creature, human assassin menace. Your opponents can't gain life. Whenever a player casts their first spell each turn, choose another target player. The Lord of Pain deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to the chosen player. 5/5.
5 mana for a 5/5 with menace is a bit meh to me. It's a bit weird. However, this commander is one of the most unique commanders I've seen in a little while. I really do like this. Firstly, a commander that stops people gaining life is really hilarious, especially if you're against life gain opponents. Then it has a weird kind of, closest thing to it is Vial Smasher effect, but completely different. Vial Smasher is when you cast, this is when an opponent casts. Then it deals damage to a person, where this deals damage to a different opponent. So if someone's playing, like, we'll just say a big green deck, they're gonna be a really fun person to play against, because they're like, cool, I'm gonna tap 2 mana to play my Golter, and you're like, cool, thanks for that, that's 12 damage to you, and the other person's like, why are you playing Golter? Stop. And it's like, oh, don't worry about it, you can gain life to be able to stop this from happening. Oh wait, you can't. This is what I would like to call a enchantment commander, where you mainly keep it on the field and try and keep it alive for its abilities. That's why I'm not the biggest fan that has menace, because if you attack with it, It's blocking well, but you don't really want to attack with it because you don't want it dead. Both the commander and the sub-commander of this deck is really good and fun. The commander is quite a normal-ish commander. There's nothing absolutely unique or special about it, but it is still fun to play. And the sub-commander is that weird bit of spice that I really do like. So now on to the context of this deck. Starting off with creatures. In this deck there's 33 creatures in total, but you get creatures just like
Barb Fleur Gremlin, Braids, Arisen Nightmare, Brash Taunter, Combustible Jeer Hulk, Fade Unraveler, Florian, Voldrin Scion, Gleeful Arsonist, Harsh Mentor, Kervek the Merciless, Cataract Parasite, Massacre Girl, Massacre Worm, Magus, God of Slaughter, Nightshade Harvester, Persistent Constrictor, Rakdos, Lord of Riots, Rampaging Ferocidon, Star Athlete, Stormfist Crusader, Tectonic Giant, Vile Smasher the Fierce.
I really do like the creature selection of this deck. There is a fair few cards that I'm like, this is cruel and hilarious, that if I was going to build this deck, I would want in. Which is really good for a commander product because you don't want to then be searching for those cards or buying them. If they're already in the deck, it's a really good thing. There is a nice variation of cool and well-known cards when it comes to Magic the Gathering, and a few cards I did not think of until I seen it and went, oh, I really like you. But I think when it comes to this deck and how they usually build it, there's potentially going to be a kind of a weird like graph thing where creatures is going to be the highest point of this deck and the rest is just going to be meh to okay. So let's go on to the spells of this deck. When it comes to spells, there's 13 in total, but you get
Bedevil, Blasphemous Act, Chaos Warp, Decree of Pain, Sadistic Shell Game, Suspended Sentence.
And this is where I was getting my point across. The spells here are okay at best. Chaos Warp and Blasphemous Act are seen in pretty much nearly every single deck when it comes to Wizards that has a red pip, which is okay. Blasphemous Act is quite a good kind of board wipe, and Chaos Warp is one of those things that it is hilarious to play, especially in a deck like this that the whole point is the chaos of it. There's not much here that I'm like, ooh, I really like or absolutely love. There is just like a kind of, yeah, this is good. This is the cards I can see Wizards put in. Like, they're okay, they're fine. Like, I'm not complaining, I'm not happy. So let's go on to the enchantments. When it comes to the enchantments of this deck, there is 5 in total, and they are
Enchanter's Bane, Spiked Corridor, Spiteful Visions.
This is what I meant from this deck. It went from a really high point with the commander and sub-commander, the creatures, and now it's just slowly going down. I find the enchantments a bit more meh than the spells, but that's just personally me. There's nothing here that if I wanted, I would have seen and gone, ooh, I really love this, and went for the enchantments. There's not many enchantments, to be honest. I would possibly take them all out, or majority of them out, and put in other enchantments. A captive audience would have been absolutely great for this deck. I absolutely love this. I absolutely love that card with a passion, especially if you flicker it. Next, we are going on to the artifacts of this deck. When it comes to this deck, there's 11 artifacts in total, with 7 of them being mana rocks, but you get some other ones just like
Basilisk Collar, Mask of Gristlebrand, Seance Board.
To be honest, not gonna lie, I actually thought the artifacts would have been a slightly bit worse. I thought it was just gonna be mainly mana rocks, then with 1 or possibly 2 okay to meh cards. However, Basilisk Collar is a funny card, especially because it works well with both your commander and your sub-commander with the life gain part. You want your commander to have Death Touch and Lifelink and gain life, but then if you have your sub-commander as your commander, then you're the one gaining life, and then no one else is, which is also a very good ability. And now finally onto the lands of this deck. When it comes to this deck, there is 38 in total, but you get great lands just like
Blackleaf Glyphs, Dragonskill Summit, Foreboding Ruins, Graven Cairns, Shivan Gorge, Smoldering Marsh, Spinnerock Knoll, Witch's Clinic.
So when it comes to lands, I'm not sure if it's one of those things with all the different lands and reprints they're doing. They're putting better lands in, I do agree with that, but I'm not sure if it's kind of keeping up with the sets coming out, because there is a new land in this set that is quite good. So I'm like, it would be cool if they put one of them in. However, at the same time, they're putting in now filter lands and better lands like snarls and stuff that I really do like and I really do think is better. But I'm not sure if it's one of those things, kind of like it's a weird type of inflation where the lands are getting better and there's more variations. So of course the lands in the deck are going to be getting better and more variation. However, I'm not sure if the gap is getting bigger and bigger when it comes to that type of thing. But I do think with the sets from last year, the lands are getting better very slightly, especially filter lands. I am liking that they're putting in filter lands lately. So my overall thoughts of the deck, I do think this is one of the first ever decks I've seen, at least in the last 3 sets, that have an amazing commander and an amazing sub-commander that play very differently. However, you can use all the cards in the deck to play them very well when it comes to both. I do still think there is still that slight separation that if you want to focus on one, you'll have to take a few cards out than if you wanted to build it yourself. I do think the lands are getting better, the artifacts were better than I thought, the creatures were absolutely great, but when it came to the enchantment and spells is where it's the lowest part in my personal opinion. Overall, I think I give this deck an 8.6. But if you think differently than me, or if you don't like this deck at all, I would like to hear your thoughts and opinions, as always, down in the comments down below. While you're there, remember to like and subscribe and do all that YouTubey stuff we usually do and ask for. If there's any card like Captive Audience that you would like to put in this deck, let me know in the comments down below. I love seeing new cards and stuff like that, or the way people play them. But if this isn't your type of deck and Gilgari is your type of deck, I have made a video on the previous deck. Here, I have a playlist of Magic the Gathering Is It Worth It stuff here, and a subscribe button here, and I love all the support so far, and keep going, and I'll see you all in the next video.